Fast forward 2 years from this exact moment. You'll be standing in one of two realities. In one, you're looking in the mirror, stunned by how much you've achieved. In the other, you're looking at the same four walls, wondering where time went. The difference between those two people isn't a stroke of luck or even a lottery ticket. It's such a dumb decision we make every single morning. This is the most valuable 10 minutes of your life. Every time you hit that snooze button, you're trading in success for comfort. No, for real. In the first 90 minutes of each day, your brain is actually a high-performance engine. That's when everything is fresh and clean and ready to take on the day. In this window, your brain is nearly 50% more focused than the rest of the day. The neurons and synapses in your brain are firing like lightning. The scientific term for this is called the golden hour, and I'll break that down neurologically in just a bit. And wasting this is like having the ability to fly, but walking everywhere. The high performers you see online, they're not gifted with more hours. They don't secretly have superpowers, and they're not meditating in freezing lakes or living like monks. They simply realize that the early morning is the only time where the world isn't trying to steal their attention. There's no emails, notifications are silent, the house is still, and that quiet is your secret weapon. It's about protecting your mental energy from all that digital noise. And this simple choice is a lifestyle practiced by some of the most successful individuals around the world, ranging from athletes to billionaires. And I can personally say, practicing this lifestyle took me from a random touring musician to a world touring musician with brands, sponsorships, and a fully operating business that allowed me to follow my dreams. So if you're looking to change your life, well, it starts right at the crack of dawn. But before you think this is some drastic change in your life, zoom out, because all it takes is a little discipline and 60 minutes of your day. But how exactly do you accomplish that? Well, let's take a look. So think about this 2-year gap. Imagine two people are starting exactly where you are today. One person claims the first hour of their day, and the other person lets that slip away. The difference is invisible for the first month. But over the next 2 years, that gap becomes a canyon. And if every morning you just decided to make your life 1% better, that compound interest in 1 year, you're over 30 times more likely to be successful. And in year 2, it doubles. Now you're consistent, disciplined, and determined. You've entered a new level, but the other person, still staring at those same four walls singing the song, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Okay, you're still here, so which tells me you're interested. But what if you're telling yourself, I'm a night owl. I can't do that stuff in the morning. Well, first, let's eliminate the word can't. You can, and you will. But back to the night owl. You might think you do your best work at midnight, but the data says otherwise. Your willpower is like a phone battery. It's at 100% when you wake up. At 9 p.m., it's spent on traffic, coworkers, and fatigue. Your late night work is usually just busy work. You're checking boxes instead of building empires. The morning hour is different because it's clean energy. You're working with a full tank. 1 hour at 5 a.m. is objectively more productive than 3 hours at 11 p.m. And that's the leverage that wins the decade. And while leverage is great, it's not the only secret. The real magic is the biological state your brain enters at dawn. Neurologically speaking, when you sleep, your brain flushes out adenosine, which is chemical waste that causes brain fog. So basically, you just got rid of all that waste. Now second, when you wake up, your body triggers cortisol awakening response. It's a massive spike in natural energy that's like a biological caffeine. And then you finally enter your creative alpha state. And this is literally the most chemically optimized you'll be all day. Science calls this state flow-prone neuroplasticity. Think of this as your brain is a soft clay, and you can mold it into whatever you want. The goal here is to release good neurotransmitters so you can stay in this flow state for an extended period of time. And it occurs more naturally, which ultimately causes the brain to adapt and change and replaces poor habits with good habits. And there's actually more science behind this with microdosing shrooms as a natural antidepressant, but we'll get into that into another video. For now, let's get back to this. When you check the news in the morning, you're pressing anxiety into that clay. If you check social media, you press distraction to it. But if you move and plan, you mold a mind built for growth. You're running on a natural cocktail of dopamine and cortisol. This is the brain's biological startup sequence. If you waste it, you're throwing away your most fertile ground. And if this is your peak state, you can't afford to plant weeds. You need a specific blueprint to handle the heavy lifting for you. So what kind of plan is that? Well, the good news is you don't need anything complicated. You just need 5 simple movements. Step 1, hydrate. And no, I don't mean coffee or an energy drink for you caffeine addicts. I mean water with electrolytes. You'd be so surprised how many people don't follow this simple rule. Because biologically, your brain has been in a desert for 8 hours. Step 2, move your body a little. A quick little stretch is all it takes to wake up your system. Personally, I'll just do 5 to 10 minutes of a quick yoga session, or I'll even just walk outside and embrace nature. The point is to get blood flowing throughout your body to deliver oxygen and nutrients. And it's also a nice defense against aging. Step 3, identify your lead domino. What's the first thing that makes everything else easier? If it's one of the two things we just mentioned, great, you killed 2 birds with 1 stone. But if not, find it and stick to that. Step 4, feed your mind. Read 10 pages of a book that challenge your status quo. Get that mind working. Now the last step is very crucial. Step 5 is build a wall. What I mean by that is prevent distractions as best as you can. Try leaving your phone in the other room, or at least putting the notifications on silent. Because remember, we're waking up early to do this. We want to accomplish our goals. And we also know how distracting the phone can be. So build that barrier and be proud that you're actually doing this. Because this routine creates the ultimate sanctuary for you to follow your dreams. But it's not just about productivity. It's about a secret identity. This isn't actually about getting more work done. It's about who you're becoming when no one else is watching. Confidence is just the reputation you have with yourself. Every time you wake up on time, you prove you are a leader. When you trust yourself, your entire posture changes. You stop looking for external signs to start your business, and you look internally. And that's when it clicks. You realize that you're the architect and you're in control. The 5 a.m. hour is where self-respect is built. It's where you prove your worth and worth the investment. But if you think this is small, wait until you see the math. 1 intentional hour a day is 365 hours a year. That's 15 full days of pure uninterrupted progress. Over 2 years, that's 1 solid month. And while others drift away, you're building. Small habits are the hinges that swing the biggest doors. And the door to your dream life is incredibly heavy. But this morning habit is a key that knocks that door over. But the problem here is that most people quit before the door even moves. You always need to know the exact date when everything changes. But none of us can predict that. So you might be asking, how do I stay motivated? Well, the truth is, this is going to be a roller coaster of a ride. There's going to be ups, downs, you're going to swing side to side. Sometimes you'll be upside down and you won't even know where you're headed. But the key here is to stay grounded, because we're trying to break this cycle and form a new you. But there are some people out there that need a time frame. So instead of looking a year out, try focusing on the first 3 months. You're not going to see the glow up by next Tuesday. Week 2 is usually the hardest part of the journey. Your old self is going to try to convince you to stay in bed. And this is where you just say, no. You get up and you do it. And that's when you'll slowly start to see a change. If you give yourself 90 days, that's when habit becomes an identity. By that mark, you simply wake up and execute. This is when main character energy truly takes over. At this point, you're no longer a passenger. You're the one driving the machine into the unknown. The truth is, the next 2 years are coming regardless of your effort. Time never stops moving, but neither should you. You're headed towards a version of yourself that's either empowered or stagnant. Time doesn't care if you hit the snooze button today. But at the end of the day, you have the power to do this and change your trajectory. Winston Churchill once said, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. And this is where you are. You're waking up and you're starting. But every day going forward, you're going to continue and persevere through adversity. So fast forward 2 years from now. You'll be standing in one of 2 realities. In one, you're looking in the mirror, proud of who you became. And in the other, you're staring at those same 4 walls. So the choice is yours. And if you're ready to start making history, don't wait another second, because the future is waiting for you tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.